Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the JCI Grow2Greatness webinar. I know a lot of you will see this online. I know that some of you will also see it when we do the our replay that will be on YouTube as well. So great that you're here again this week. I'm very proud that we have a very good friend and also not old friend, but a very old friendship person here who is, he's not old yet. He's still very young. But Petri Niskanen, 1997 JCI president. It's great that you're here with us. This is our JCI Grow2Greatness session number 7. And we've had a lot of different guests with us, and we'll still continue doing this once a month in the coming months as well. For those of you who are new here, the JCI Grow2Greatness program is a program for especially national officers of JCI, but also local presidents, people who take leadership positions in our organization, with the primary focus on how to lead and how to grow this organization. I'm very happy that Petri is with us today. And Petri, I always ask people when they join from all around the world, so where do you come from? We know that you're from Finland, but who's Petri? And
basically, I've been entrepreneur for all of my year. So I've been running my own family business. I actually inherited it from my parents, and my father died when I was 16. And at that time, my mother asked me, "Okay, what shall we do? Shall we continue the company? Or should we sell it?" And I thought about it a little while, and then said, "Okay, we'll continue." We were manufacturing plastic hangers, and at that time, back in 1995, as 26-year-old, I joined the JCs. We were still running the company, but then I sort of found the world of coaching and training, and I sort of found the fire inside me. And a couple of years ago, we sold the family company, and now I'm a full-time trainer. And by the way, one very important thing. Yesterday happened a very special thing. We got our 6th grandchild.
fantastic! Congratulations with that.
Yeah.
Petri,
You said earlier that I'm not old, but if someone has 6 grandchildren, so maybe you should think it over again.
well, I think young is not necessarily a question of age. It's more a question of spirit. And I know that you're very young in spirit anyway, no matter
Yeah.
what's on your birth certificate. So in
Okay.
my
Now you know what
consideration, you're still young.
about.
Exactly. Well,
Okay.
Petri,
Yep. Okay. You continue.
now tell me, tell us a little bit about your JCI history. Where did you come from? And you were president in '97. What did
Actually,
that year kind of bring you? Yeah,
actually, it was 98 when I was
98,
JCI
98.
president.
Yeah,
At that time, you were serving as a national EVP in Denmark, and that's
that's
when we
true.
met first.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was your journey in JCI?
Okay. First of all, my best friend's father was a senator, and he told me about JCI, and then from the local chapter. That was back in '81. At that time, they called me from the local chapter and said, "Unfortunately, you are too young. You are not able to join JCs. Let's wait for 3 years." Then after 3 years, I wrote it down that, okay, this is something I want to join. And after 3 years, I gave the local president a call. And okay, I guess now I'm old enough that I could join. And he told me that I'm sorry, but we only let new members in once a year, and we did it last month. So you have to wait for another year. 10 months from that, then I called again, and then I was able to join as candidate member. So basically, it took me 4 years before I even became a member.
Oh, that's absolutely fabulous. And then you went through the way from, was it Pori, Finland at that time as well, or?
Yes, that was Pori, Finland.
And you went all the way to JCI president. Tell us about you served on an international level. So what was the best practices you saw at that time in growing JCI on a local and a national level? What was kind of the best stories in 1998?
I would say for me, it has always been that if I think about myself and see that, okay, I'm learning new things, I'm getting new friends, I'm learning new skills. That sort of, okay, this system, this works, learning by doing and learning from experiences. And then after being a member for a while, it has been sort of wonderful to see that the same happens to all the people. And
Exactly.
when you look at the person who's just joined JCs, and then you look at the same person after 2, 3, 5 years, it's totally different. And
Exactly.
the growth path starts from the first day and goes till 40.
Exactly. When you traveled the world, did you see some? Which was the countries that grew the most when you were national president, and which and why did they do that? Do you know that, or can you tell us about that?
It's hard to remember at that time which countries were growing the most. I would say that very impressive are Estonia and Iceland as a small country. Unfortunately, the bigger countries, they have not been so successful, and especially what I've noticed, the English-speaking countries, they are not being so much in the growth path.
No, it's true.
Yeah,
Um,
but I guess it's a matter of commitment and also let's say that uh, if we are able to choose the right people to join the organization, they would
exactly.
sort of push each other forward.
Exactly. So recruiting the right people has been a part of, I think, every JCI Grow to Greatness webinar we've done so far. I hear all the time that it's all about getting the right people in the organization. Then we will grow. If we take the wrong people, we die. And I'm glad to hear that that was also the case in 1998.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
that's
yeah.
great.
Yeah, but that's also the question. If we think about who are we going to get into the organization, do we seek for leaders or do we seek for people who have the ability and the will to become leaders?
Exactly. Yeah. Well, it's great that people are joining us. Still see people coming in, so please let us know where you come from on the side in the chat box. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to ask them at any time, and then I'll make sure that when we start Petri's presentation in just a moment, that if you have any questions, I'm pretty sure that we can interrupt and we can ask Petri questions. And
Yeah,
by the end
sure.
of the webinar, just before we end at 9 o'clock, there will also be a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, just let us know, and we will pour um, our Nordic energy into asking all the questions that you might have. It might not be the right ones, but it could hopefully be some good ones. Um, so great. And Natasha is here. She has candidate training in Denmark, who starts at 8:30. So if you don't want them to join us, at least congratulate all those who want to take leadership positions in JCI in just a few minutes. And Raina is here from Jordan as well. Great to see you. So, Petri, I'll put on the presentation, and today's topic is Business Bushido Leadership. And I really like that topic. I've had the opportunity to be head trainer or head coach or course leader of the JCI Academy for quite a number of years. And we've had different themes, but this Bushido has always been my favorite because it is the spirit of Japan, but it's also something that can be really valuable for anyone who wants to enter leadership. So, Petri, I'll put on the presentation. Stay quiet and stay offline, or not offline, but at least my camera will disappear. But I'm really looking forward to this, and just let me know whenever you need me to change the slide. So,
Le-
Petri, the stage is yours.
Okay, let me say in Finnish, hep. When I say hep, you need to change the slide.
I will do that.
But I know that you know about Bushido because also in the on the back page of the book is your comment.
Oh, that's great. That is really, really nice. Yes. And it is a really, really great book. So,
Yeah.
Petri, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you, Lars. Actually, just a little bit of the history of the book. After the JCI career, I got an idea that I would like to write down some of my experiences. And then I thought that, okay, it could be sort of a link to leadership. And when I got acquainted to Bushido, I thought that this is sort of the third piece in the puzzle, and so I structured and wrote the book, sort of using my experiences, other stories, my ideas of leadership, and the Bushido values. Bushido is basically the code of ethics, or I could also say the values of the Japanese samurai. And now if I say hep, you know what to do. Hello. Okay, here we go. Basically, I believe that this is a great quote from Richard Bach. It's from his book One, and it says, as you can read, that I gave my life to become the person I am right now. Was it worth it? And we are all what we are today, and we have become what we are based to the choices we have taken earlier in our life, our successes, our failures. They have formed us what we are today. But I see that the beauty of this line is that all of us, we are different in 10 years time, and what we become in the coming 10 years, it's very much based on our choices, the paths we are choosing, and our the experiences we are ready to take. And this is what I believe, that our life is very much in our own hands. But let's go to the Bushido and hep. Values for all of us, they should be the foundation of all our actions. We should reflect all our decisions, what we saying, what I doing, so that they are in line with our values. Hep. But the values are nothing if they are just words written on the walls. But values are an important for us if they reflect our actions. If we follow our values, whatever we do every day, and that is something we should do. It's I would say it's sad that for example, companies, they have written values, but when you look at the everyday actions, very often they don't have very much to do with what happens in real life. So I believe in values, but only if we follow them every day. Hep. Sometimes also hurry is dangerous because we might do our make our mind do our decisions based on hurry. We are very busy doing this, doing that. We have pressure coming from outside, from expectations. We need to we want to get results too fast, and if we don't look at the distance, what this decision is going to lead us in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years, we might make the actions which are not in line in our values. So we should always have our eyes not in tomorrow, but in 10 years. And also, as Stephen Covey says, that always begin with end in mind, and the end is not going to be tomorrow. We should think about long period results. Yep. If we think about value-based leadership, and I believe that value-based leadership is the only right way to lead. The foundation are the values, and on the top of the values, we build our dreams, which can be translated so simple that what do we want? That is our dream. And on the top of the dreams, we build our goals, which is more concrete version of the dreams. And on top of that, we build our plans. And how do we get to our goals, to our dreams, based to our values? And then there's only one little thing to do, which is to do something. Don't not just plan, not just dream, but act. And that is the in my opinion the right path to travel toward our dreams. Yep. If we go to the Bushido or the samurai culture, it's an old culture, older than 1,000 years. Samurai soldiers, they were also not only fighters but and warriors, but artists and philosophers. And one line which I really like, what was sort of their one of their guidelines, that you need to be ready, or actually you are ready to live only if you are every day, every moment ready to die for your principles. So basically, to me, it says that whatever happens, you need to keep your values in mind, whatever you do, and don't compromise of your values. Hep. Here are the 7 values of Bushido, but I guess we should go to the next slide because I guess that not very many of us will understand these words. But the first one of the values is rectitude. Hep. Sometimes it might be difficult to act according to this value. But as I said earlier, that we always should have our eyes in the future. And that should be, maybe in my opinion, this is the most important of all these 7. Hep. But by the way, in the book there are stories which describe all the values, but with this timeline, we are not able to go through the stories, but the truth is always the truth. And even if you are in a minority of one, it's the same as Mahatma Gandhi says. And here to do the checking to test how you manage with this, here are a couple of questions of concerns which you should ask yourself. For example, do I accept dishonesty in everyday actions? Even if we think about little things. How do we react if we find people around us being dishonest? Do we treat everyone righteously? And so on. Please get the next slide. The second one of the values is respect. And I believe that this is also something what JCI has teach me, that we should respect everyone around us. And that is also true that every one of us, we can learn something from each and everyone we meet in our life. And every one of us is worth of our respect, and we should have communicate with people and work with people, live with people with respect. Also respecting different ways of looking at that life, and that is once again going back to JCs. When in JCs you see people coming from different continents, different countries, different cultures, different religions. When you are able to interact with these people, you learn a little bit more to understand them. Sometimes it's difficult if you only hear and see about different cultures from the news and read and what's from TV. But when you really see the people, see the different cultural backgrounds, and with open mind you communicate with them, work with them, then it gives us a good opportunity to learn from them. We can learn from these people, other people. They can learn from us, and from that mutual respect, we can build a better world together. Happy. Here, once again, a couple of questions everyone should ask from themselves. And very often, if we don't respect someone, if it means that we don't understand the other person, and as Lincoln says so well, that I don't like that man, I must get to know him better. And to be honest, this has happened to me many times. I've not been very fond of someone, but when I've learned to know that person, and I've learned to understand her or him, and I've also learned from that person. Okay, go ahead. The next one is courage, which is something we all need. And here I've put a couple of ingredients of courage, which I believe is pretty true. And it starts from self-confidence. If you are not self-confident enough, it's very difficult to find the courage in you. And that leads to the next thing, that if you are self-confident, you dare to live bravely. and you need to be have the self confidence, and you need to live bravely to be able to take advantage of the opportunities you can see and find in your life. Also, responsibility is an important part of courage, as well as the other things mentioned here. Not, of course, forgetting morale. Hep.
Petri, we lost your sound. Can you check if you
Really?
still are? Yes, now you're back. Now you're back. Good.
Okay, I don't know what happened. Okay, but you can take the next slide. All of us, we have in and around us our own field of know-how, and we also meet challenges and problems inside our, let's say, safe field. But we also meet challenges and problems outside our home base. And it's important to understand that learning and the miracles always happen on the edge or outside our field of know-how or our field, our comfort zone. To be able to learn and develop him or herself, you need to be able, or you need to have the courage to go outside your comfort zone. And I guess that the JCI is a wonderful place to learn about that, because we are offered opportunities, offices in different projects, or whatever we do JC in JCs, we are given opportunities to go far outside our comfort zone. And for me, at least, uh, going outside my local chapter, first to national level and then to international level, I've went so far away from my comfort zone that if someone would have told me during the first year in JZs that I'll be uh, someday a national official, a national president, I wouldn't believe it. But it happens step by step, and that's the learning by doing, learning by getting experiences. Uh, and I'm challenging every one of you to test your limits and go further and further. Of course, I know that when you turn to 40, that's sort of a sad part of every day active JC's life. And still, it's 20 years when I was serving as JCI president, and still I go to the JCI events, national, sometimes international level, quite often. And one thing what people come to tell me is that, oh, I'm so sad because I turned to 40 this year, and next year I don't have the time to do this and that and run for this office and do different things. And I hope that all of you who are listening now don't do that mistake. Don't wait too long, because the clock is clock is running faster than you can imagine. Okay, the next one, please. Here also a couple of questions of courage. I guess that because of the time limitations and to be able to have some times for questions and discussions, I don't go through this. So please take the next slide. And the next value is honor. And if you want to be a man or person of honor, it has to be earned. And the steps to honorable leadership, and when I speak about leadership, as I guess that all of you agree with me that everyone is a leader in his or her own life. So the steps to honorable leadership could also be translated steps to become an honorable person. And it starts from healthy self-esteem. And you have to be able to respect the differences. And also you have to see, I come back to the point what I said in the beginning, that the values are nothing if they don't reflect into our actions. And that is the path to honorable leadership, honorable self leadership, and the leadership when you're in leadership position, so that you have people working who how would I put it, who sort of look at you as their leader. Okay. Socrates is an old man. Actually, I think that he's not alive anymore. But I guess it's very well said that the greatest way to live with honor on this world is to be what we pretend to be. All of us, we want to everyone else to see us as a good person, an honorable person. And if we think about the picture, how we want others to see us, if we really be, if we can be that person, then we are not doing very bad, I guess. Also, we should think about that what qualities, as said in the questions, what qualities do I value in other people? We should think about the people around us and what are the qualities in them which we value, and also that how could we learn from from those people and sort of make ourselves to be even better. Okay. The next value, benevolence and compassion. This is my sort of a nice drawing of a trampoline. And I believe that sympathy works like a trampoline. And if you show sympathy to other people, it has an enormous positive influence. And if you treat other people well, if you treat other people with sympathy, if you are kind to them, I guess it's more than natural that they want to be the same to you. If you have a lack of sympathy, don't expect to have very much sympathy coming to your way from other people. Okay. According to Schopenhauer, compassion, it should say, compassion is the basis of all morality. If we don't have compassion towards other people, it can be asked that do we have a good moral? And once again, a couple of questions. And I guess it's very easy for uh, everyone to find people around us who we could help. Sometimes it might be a very big thing. Sometimes it could be a tap on the shoulder, a little help, a couple of words of encouragement. And we should ask ourselves that are we uh, using the opportunities to help other people, to encourage other people. And I guess that we should all test us every day. For example, in the morning, think about who could I help today? Who needs my encouragement today? Because all of us, if we think about our own past, we have had many moments when we have needed the encouragement from other people. And I guess that all of us also have the experiences that the encouragement of other people, uh, they have helped us to go through difficult times. And we should always think about, okay, whose life could be easier if I help him or her a little bit. Okay. Makachi, honesty. Honesty is like a clean drop of water. If you are honest, it spreads a good feeling, and it unfortunately it's the same thing with dishonesty. So we should always ask ourselves, am I honest? And basically, I put it this way: I keep that as one of my values in life. That I promise to myself that I never say anything which I don't believe in myself. And also, I guess that if we are sort of a, for example, as a salesman, if I'm selling a product or service which I know it's not working well, the other people, they can also see it in our eyes. They can sense it. Okay. Wherever you go, do it with all your heart. And I guess you, as national officers in your respective countries, you do your JC work with all your heart. And I guess that's very. We think about our organization. It's one of the biggest strengths of our junior chamber, that all the active members, we do JC work with all our heart. And once again, here are questions, but I guess that we should go further. I'd say that a nice picture once again that which I describe loyalty as a lighthouse. It shows you the light to the right direction. And if you follow that light, you cannot go very much wrong. Okay. According to Churchill, the price of greatness is responsibility. And actually, I cannot imagine leadership without responsibility because it's also almost a synonym. I believe that the essence of leadership is just that you are able to take responsibility. And also a couple of questions, so please, Lars, go forward. So here's basically the seven values which Bushido offers us, and they have uh, been written down more than 1,000 years ago, but still I believe they are as valid as they were then when they were written. And if we in our life, if we follow these values, they gives us a good guideline to our life. Okay. The next, yeah. All right. This is not a samurai soldier. It's all Albar. If someone knows Albar Iribarando, who was the world president in '92, this is not him. This is even older Albar. But I also believe that when we speak about values, when we speak about leadership, we need to, and this goes very much to the value of courage, and to be able to make this world to be a better place, and the same goes with all our countries and companies, our families, and whatever. We need to have the courage to do something when we see something wrong. Okay. Behind these sentences is a little story. Back in '98, as president, I had the honor to visit White House. At that time, the JCI headquarters was in Coral Gables, Florida, and I had an early flight from Miami to Washington D.C. and the meeting in the White House was in the afternoon, and in the morning time I had 3 hours time. So I was walking Pennsylvania Avenue and decided to go to U.S. Navy Memorial Museum, and there in a granite plate there was written these words, which are of course Navy words, but can be very easily translated to everyone's life. And this has to do very much what I see, what is being to leader, to be in command. In each ship there is one man who, in the hour of emergency or peril at sea, can turn to no other man. There is one who alone is ultimately responsible for the safe navigation, engineering, performance, accurate gunfire, and morale of the ship. He is the commanding officer. He is the ship. Which basically says that if you are in command, if you are a leader, you need to be ready to take responsibility. And for every one of us, it's easy to be responsible person. It's easy to take responsibility when everything goes just fine. But when we meet difficult times, then we are measured as a person, then we are measured as a leader. Are we the ones who take responsibility? Okay. But our values in action, they determine what do we leave as our legacy. And we should also think about that. What do we want is going to be our legacy? because when people evaluate us as a person, as a leader, it has nothing to do with our thoughts, it has nothing to do with our goals or aims. They evaluate us. What did we do in action? Okay. The Bushido values are pretty old, and here are some values which I see that would be important for this millennium. Okay. First is that we should, as we do in JCs, we have said for more than 100 years that learning by doing and learning from experience. But I would see that in the communities, in the companies, we should uh, more to see what is the most effective ways to each and everyone, from a little baby to an old man or lady. It's learning by doing, learning from experiences, and it also has to allow us to do mistakes, because learning always includes mistakes, and sometimes we don't allow people around us to do mistakes, but the mistakes are always on the path to success and on the path to learning. Okay. Open-mindedness. I guess that does not need any translation or any explanations. We should be open to new ideas, open to different ways of looking at things, and open mindedness. I guess it's the key to learn and to all development. Okay. If someone asks me what would be uh, the best way to make this world to become a better place, my answer would be that if we could see the big picture in all our decision making. Of course, we need to think about the details and also the little things. But if we could see different points of view and based to our decisions to the bigger picture, that would be a sure way to make things better. Okay. Oh, the globe is turning. But Lars, I guess that now the last slides are about change. But if we leave some time for discussion, we could maybe stop this here and start to discuss a little bit, or maybe if there are some questions. Do you agree?
I do agree, and thank you very much, Petri, for taking us through the values of Bushido. And I know that talking about Bushido is one thing, but really living it is really difficult. It's a challenge, but it's
Yes.
also something that can really provide beautiful leadership that is very admirable. Let's see if some questions are coming up. I've asked some I put out some polls there so we could see what people are striving the most with. but I also asked to describe their legacy in just 3 words. And Peter came up with creativity, passion, and support. Um, I want to share a story because one of the things that I like about the real Bushido leaders is also if you experience once I went to a shrine in Japan, and one of and while we were there, I was there with my wife. We just attended, or I just did the JCI Academy, and we were there just walking around the shrine, and there was an old guy coming up to us and says, could I have the honor of just showing you my shrine? And of course, we said yes. This was a wonderful gesture from him, and he took us around the shrine, told us all about his Shinto religion and what was going on in the shrine. And we had a wonderful walk for about an hour. And then he said, "Well, now it's time for me to leave. Goodbye, goodbye." And he left, not turning around, very, very strong on his decision making. And I think that's also one of the things that when you take these values of Bushido into it, it becomes something that will allow you to make good decisions because you have some values that has really made you consider a lot of different issues. Um, Petri, one of the things that came out of the poll was courage, the
Yep.
courage. And I think when we're talking about decisions as well, that's also one of the things that helps you make good decisions, is that when you've taken things into consideration, if you have the courage to make the decision, which also means cutting off all other things, but really just doing what you think is right to take the decision. Um, Courage is one of the things that a lot of people are striving with. What would be what would be your experience? Where do you find your courage, and how do you work with your courage as a leader and as a person who also changed profession in a very not young age, but a very experienced age? How did you find the courage to how did you find the courage to change? How old were you when you started when you went full time with your coaching business?
Full time, I would say about 10 years ago. But I started
10
to
years ago.
do it as a profession after my uh, JCI years, which you can sort
Yeah,
of figure it out that it was around 40.
around 40. So,
Yeah,
how did
they
you find
kicked
the
me
courage
out,
to
and
do that?
that happened to you too, I know.
I know exactly, exactly, exactly. So what made you take that decision and make that decision? Where did you find the courage to do it? Because you had a good family business that was running, and you decided to do something completely different.
Uh, let's put it this way, that I started to follow my passion, and
Exactly. Yeah.
our family business was plastic uh, uh, hangers. We were manufacturing plastic hangers for the industry, and we had, let's say, it varied a little, but it was between 20 and 30 people working for us. And the last 10 years, the company was in Estonia. And then my wife and I, we got a new ideas, and she's running her new business now, and I'm doing the training. But we sort of one evening we sat down and thought, okay, we calculated a little bit that okay, now we have manufactured a little bit more than 100 million coat hangers. And that's probably enough for one couple, that maybe we could do something else. But also behind us,
Exactly.
that was a different ideas, and we were sort of spreading us to too many directions, and we needed to give up something, and that was sort of at that time it was a natural choice. But also coming a little bit back to the Bushido, and we spoke about values, and values is the foundation. But what also was, in a way, the end of the samurai culture. uh, they followed the values, but on the other side, we also need to be open for change. And I would say that that was not the strength of the samurai. The world was changing, but they didn't want to change, and that was sort of a end of the story. And also in the book, the last page is about the change and how we need to be ready to change. And coming back to the change of profession, that was sort of my change, and I'm very happy I did it.
Exactly. So tell me from your professional experience, I guess that that you're taking some of the experience that you had in JCI and you now bring that to businesses, helping them as a coach and helping them in growing their businesses. What are the main challenges that you are seeing professionally in in the companies that you work with? What is the most difficult thing for them to handle?
Yeah, I would say that so far I haven't met a company in which one of the amongst the three biggest problems would not be that the communication is not working between different organizational levels and between different departments and divisions. So communication, I would say, is a major problem.
I would say, and if we're talking about JCI, at least I know from the current experience that I have with JCI, but also from the years I was very active as a JCI officer or a national officer, communication is difficult, but it's also one of the things that you can really learn, and not necessarily to master, but at least to be good at in JCI, really communicating with all different kind of levels of the organization, but also with different cultures and for national organizations, at least what I see is that it's we today we have so much information that filtering it is has become a necessity for many people, and by that also a lot of information is not getting to the right people. And I think one of the things that we need to master in the organization as well is really communicating in a clear and a very effective way, both from the international to the national level, from national level to local level, and from local level to the members. Also, is one of the challenges. But sometimes also listening the other way can be a challenge. That having the information going from the local member to the local organization to the national organization to international level as well. But we can always only do that if we have great conversations and if we try to interact in as a direct way as possible. That is
That
why
was a
we're
good
doing this.
was a good point what you just said, that communication always has to go both ways.
Exactly. Just listening is really a challenge, and listening to the right people. One of the things I'm working on a strategy of a pretty large newspaper in Denmark at the moment, and one of the things that we have struggled with is that they really want to listen to their readers. The problem is their readers are dying. You know, probably in everywhere in the world, readers of newspapers are getting older and older, and not many young people are getting in. So one of the things that we had to help them find the courage to do was actually to listen to those who did not want to read their newspaper, and who said that they wanted to find their news somewhere else. And by learning from them what their preferences was really something that they could use. And I think that that is something that you can use in JCI as well. Is also we should not always listen just to our members, but we should also listen to those who should be members but who are not, and really listening to what they get inspired by and what they really want to do. So Petri, let me see. There was a question here. Great learning about the Bushido way of leadership. I'm am I right to assume that the essence of Bushido is to work on yourself as a person so that you can become more adept to leading others? Is a question from Ole Christian.
Yeah, okay. So I basically believe that everything goes from inside out. You need to be able to lead yourself before you are able to lead other people. Yeah, and
Exactly.
the only way of leadership is leading by example. You cannot demand other people some things that you are not following the same principle yourself.
Absolutely. Well, we're just finishing up. Is there a last question? Let me just see if something is coming up here. Any last question? I see someone is typing, so let's just give them a minute. Petri,
Well,
you were a
yeah.
local president once in Pori, Finland,
Yes, I was.
and
80.
88. And one of the things that I really do you know that if you compare the size of the country with the number of JCI members, Finland is probably the largest national organization in the world, and it still is.
Yeah,
And I
one of
remember
the last.
I, I did a calculation that if every national organization had the same percentage of membership compared to the size of the country, we would be 1.9 million if we were following the Finnish the Finnish uh, numbers. So one of the
So
things that you see.
that would be a challenge to find the place where we could have the World Congress.
Exactly. We could only be in Las Vegas or or somewhere else where we could have 70,000 people in one room. That would absolutely be great. But Petri, with taking when we talked about your national experience, tell us just one thing that you see from Finland that the rest of the world could learn from. What would be the one thing that if we're talking growth and if we're talking about building a strong organization, what are the things or the thing that we could learn from JCI Finland?
Yep. Uh, I would say that, and I'm not saying that it's not the case in many other countries, but I guess that in Finland we have a pretty good combination of hard work and hard fun, because I guess that it's not often enough said from the podium that JCs has to be fun. This is okay. We learn from junior chamber, but it's also a hobby to us. And if we don't have fun enough, not very many people won't use their time in JCs. They find something else.
Exactly. So it should be fun as well. And one of the things that we absolutely know from Finland is that it is very fun to be with you guys. For I see that we have people joining us from Togo and other places in the world. But if you ever have the opportunity to go to Finland, you should absolutely do it. But beware that it is dark in the winter. There is a lot of snow. There is a lot of cold. And one of the things they would do is put you into a hot sauna, and then they will throw you naked into a lake somewhere, in a frozen lake. And that is also the Finnish way of having fun.
Yes.
Um,
Yes, welcome
but
to Finland.
it will be great, and
That's
we're
exactly
definitely.
what we do.
Exactly, that's exactly what you do. And you know what I would love. I hope that I will see you in at the World Congress in Goa, or next year we're going to where I don't even remember where we're going next year, but definitely we will have an opportunity to meet again, and the members will have an opportunity to meet you at the World Congress. So thank you very much for joining tonight, Petri, and thank you very much for your insights in both Bushido leadership, but also your experience in JCI. And ladies and gentlemen out there still listening, we will send out a replay that will be on YouTube, and I know that a lot of people is using that to see the webinar because we have viewers all around the world, but at this time it's very very late night in Japan and some of the other places where we also have a lot of people watching. So thank you very much again, Petri, and see you all out there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Lars. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. And all of you listening, feel free to join me in Facebook or LinkedIn. I would be happy to link with you. And thank
That
you,
is
Lars,
great.
for the opportunity. It made the old guy feel a little bit younger tonight.
Thank you very much, and you do look fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, this was the show for tonight. I hope that you had a good time. I see that the poll tells me that you had a good time. I'm really happy for that. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the evening and the rest of the year. And remember, it is now June, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is next year. So if you have a position this year, do your best. Not tomorrow, but today. Really do whatever you can. Thank you very much, and have a great night.